And Pam, if you would do the introductions.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15 and July 2nd, 2020 orders imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Town of Adams Planning Board is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort has been made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. We have posted today's agenda in accordance with open meeting law, which included the call-in information for the meeting. Despite our best efforts, if we are not able to provide for real-time access for the public to participate in today's meeting, a recording of this meeting can be made available by request as this meeting is being recorded using the Zoom platform.
And could you do the introduction of what we're doing?
Yes. Application of Cumberland Farms, Inc. for site plan approval under subsection 125-19E12 and 13 of the Adams zoning bylaw for property located at 95 Commercial Street. The request is for the siting and operation of a 4,384 square foot retail convenience store with 4 fueling islands and 8 dispensaries in a B2 zoning district.
Okay, and we have people on Zoom. I don't know how many. Is there more than one?
Oh, yes.
So if you are asked to speak, please give your name and a phone number. Also, to the applicant, we are a 5-member board. We only have 3 members present. You need a majority rule to have this pass. So you have an option, because you have to have all 3 members right now to vote positive on it for it to pass. Or would you like to postpone it for a full member board?
So for the record, Tom Reedy, attorney with Bacon Wilson out of Amherst, here on behalf of Cumberland Farms. I guess my question would be, has the town adopted the Mullins rule, where if we do start the public hearing and then it seems like we're not going to get a favorable vote, then we could continue it, and one of the members who is not here, assuming that you have other members, I don't know if it's just they're not here tonight.
We have 2 that are absent.
Okay. And so then if you have adopted the Mullins rule, it would allow both of those members to review the tape to certify that they in fact have watched it, and then they are eligible to vote at that next public hearing. I don't know if you have adopted that though.
No, we have not.
Okay.
So now it's up to you whether you want to continue.
I'm inclined to go forward. I don't know, Luke, if you've got any sense of this.
Again, I'm inclined to move forward. And for the record, Luke DiStefano with Bowler Engineering. I believe, and I don't want to keep kicking this can down the road a little bit, but Peter Yeske with First Hartford may also be dialing in. And I also see that Chuck Meek from First Hartford is on. And I think at the end of the day, we should defer to either one of them as to how they want to proceed.
Hey, Luke, good evening, and good evening, everybody. Peter Yeske from First Hartford. I apologize, I'm running late, but I did dial in from the car. I think we should proceed, so I'll turn it over back to Tom and Luke.
And there you go.
There you have it.
Keeping you informed that if it doesn't pass, you need a substantial change to bring the site plan approval back to us.
Sure, and I think that if we got to a place where, and just quite frankly being candid, if we got to a place where we feel like we didn't have it, I think what we would ask is potentially for a withdrawal without prejudice, so that we could probably make whatever modifications that we're hearing are the portions of pushback, and then bring it back, without having to make that substantial change and to go through, the repetitive petition protocol.
Okay, so we'll move forward.
Okay.
Who is doing the introductions?
You're already talking to them.
For the site plan, so you got to go.
Okay, you've read the public notice? You're all set for us?
Yes.
Okay. So for the record, again, Tom Reedy, an attorney with Bacon Wilson out of Amherst, here on behalf of Cumberland Farms and its application for site plan approval for 95 Commercial Street in Adams. With me this evening, Luke DiStefano, site designer from Bowler Engineering, Chuck Meek, and Peter Yeske from First Hartford, both the project developer for Cumberland Farms. And so probably what I'll do is, so I don't steal much or any of Luke's thunder, I'll just talk a little bit about the background and how we got here. So obviously there was a zone change that town meeting approved, rezoning Commercial Street. Generally, this these parcels were part of that zone change, which ultimately resulted in this project requiring site plan approval from the planning board. We were in front of the Traffic Commission in March, and they had voted to accept our traffic impact study. Hopefully you have a copy of those minutes. I think they came across the wire not that long ago. In April, we were in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals and received approval for the operation of a 24-hour convenience store with gas station. I think we had a very productive discussion. There were some concessions made relative to outdoor audio advertisements and rubbish removal trucks. And then just most recently, a few weeks ago, we were in front of the conservation, maybe even less than that, in front of the Conservation Commission and received an order of conditions for this project. As with the conditions, we're in compliance with the Wetland Protection Act. So what you've got in front of you is a proposal for a 4,384 square foot retail convenience store with 4 fueling stations, 8 fueling positions as they're double-sided at this assemblage of parcels. So with that, I think I'll turn it over to Luke and let him run with it.
Sure, thanks, Tom. And again, for the record, Luke DiStefano with Bowler. Do I have permission to share the screen?
Sure.
All right. Let's see. Hopefully this works here. Can folks see the rendering?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I'll do is Tom did a pretty good job of giving the background here and giving a brief description of what it is that Cumberland Farms is looking to do with the property. And I know the board and most likely any individual from the audience is probably very familiar with this location, but it's an existing 65,000 square foot piece of property or multiple properties located at 95 Commercial Street at the intersection with Elm, as you can see on the left side or the south side, and then Prospect on the north side or the plan right side. The site is currently developed as a vacant automotive repair shop, basically a junkyard, and then a series of residential structures in total. There are 8 structures on the property, all of which are currently proposed to be raised and rebuilt should Cumberland Farms get the approvals that they seek overall. And again, hopefully you can see the plan, the site plan on the screen, but ultimately if approved as currently designed, Cumberland Farms is looking to redevelop the entire parcel with a new 4,384 square foot Cumberland Farms convenience store located in the center of the property here. That convenience store would be serviced by 27 parking spaces. The parking spaces would be located on the north side or the right side of the building, the front of the building, and then a series of parking spaces along the Elm Street or south side of the lot. Cumberland Farms is looking to construct 4 multi-product fuel dispensers beneath an overhead canopy between the building and Commercial Street. And as Tom mentioned a few minutes ago, because the dispensers can fuel 2 cars, one on either side, this facility would have a maximum capacity of 8 vehicles being fueled at any one given time. The site is currently proposed to be accessed via 2 full movement curb cuts, one on the south side along Commercial Street, and then a second full movement curb cut on the north side of the lot adjacent to Prospect Street. In addition to the construction that I just mentioned, Cumberland Farms is proposing significant improvements to the landscaping on the property and the stormwater management for this particular facility. Under existing conditions right now, the site basically sheet flows unchecked and untreated into the stormwater management systems within Prospect Street and Commercial Street, and ultimately, from what we understand, into the Hoosick River. Under proposed conditions, Cumberland Farms has designed a sophisticated stormwater management system that's designed to basically capture all of the runoff from any impervious portion of the property, direct it through a series of BMPs, and ultimately into an infiltration system located in the front center portion of the property before an outlet control or overflow structure will then direct that stormwater back into the Commercial Street stormwater management system. But under the proposed conditions, what you'll see is a significant improvement, not only in the stormwater quantities exiting the site, but the quality of that stormwater as well. So again, what we feel is a significant improvement over the existing condition. Again, hopefully folks can see the rendering. This paints a good picture of what it is Cumberland Farms is proposing from a landscape standpoint. Again, we are very aware that we have residential abutters to our west and to our north. So Cumberland Farms, after listening to comments from some of these abutters during previous meetings, has designed a comprehensive and extensive landscape plan that's designed to not only provide aesthetic screening to the abutters, but also along with an 8-foot high white vinyl fence, an actual structural buffer between those properties as well. The project will also include all new utilities. All utilities will be brought in new to the site underground. And then lastly, Cumberland Farms is proposing a state-of-the-art lighting plan for this particular facility, which if you've heard me say it before, gone are the days where you have a lot of light trespass and a glow coming from these facilities. And now what you have is basically downlight, which is designed to put light where Cumberland Farms and the general public need it and want it, which is within the fueling area, within parking spaces, at the driveways, and really nowhere else. And if you've had an opportunity to review the lighting plan, you've probably seen that the lighting plan that's currently designed for this facility results in 0 light trespass onto any of our abutting rights of way or any of the abutting neighbors surrounding the property. And with that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions the board may have. Thank you.
One question I have is the signage.
Sure. Tom, you want to speak to signage, or you want me to call up a plan?
Why don't you call up? Yeah, why don't you call up a plan so we can take a look at it? If you've got the photo rendering, might be a good place to start. If you've got that. Otherwise, I don't know if there's any specific question relative to the signage.
Okay.
What we're proposing.
One other question too I have, if you were to move into this new Cumberland Farms, what happens to the old Cumberland Farms down the street?
Sure, great question. So for the old Cumberland Farms, typically what Cumberland Farms will do is look to, so they'll decommission it, and then they will look to either sell or lease it with some restriction preventing competition. So no pizza, no coffee, no gas. and maybe no grocery market, etc. But that's traditionally what they look to do.
Because I'm not sure, but would the gas tanks have to come out down
Yes,
there?
yeah. So and I should have been more clear. When I say decommission, they close it down, they take the tanks out under the supervision of the Adams Fire Department, and then they have to bring the site to, they have to close it out environmentally, and then they go through that lease or sale process.
Okay.
Excuse me, because of the proximity to the neighborhood, surrounding neighborhood, can you explain your fire system? Your
Fire system as in for the fueling or at the store?
For the fueling, please.
Luke, I don't know if you want to talk about the canopy and the fire suppression.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, for any self-serve gasoline facility here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are required to install a self-serve fire suppression system. If you're a gas nerd like me and you pull into any self-serve gas station here in Massachusetts and you look up, you'll usually see a series of what look like nozzles. In some instances, they project below the canopy deck a few inches, and others it might be as much as a foot to 16 inches. But basically, that is a dry chemical pre-engineered system that has to be approved by both the local fire department, so in this case, the Adams Fire Department, as well as the State Fire Marshal's office. And what that's intended to do is if there is any heat source detected, there are thermostats placed up in the canopy in connection with the system. And if there's ever a specific temperature reached, I believe it's a little over 200 degrees, that system self-activates, and it basically blankets the entire fueling area with a dry chemical designed to suppress any potential fire source that may have been created. In addition to that, again, if you've ever really analyzed a gas station and you've looked at the concrete mat surrounding the dispensers, you'll notice a series of grooves that's encircle basically the entire fueling area. Those are positive limiting barriers that are designed to capture small releases of product and keep it within the design area of that fire suppression system. So it does have a state-of-the-art system that's effectively designed to keep any release that could ignite within that fueling area and within that dry chemical area that, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, is automatically activated if a specific temperature is reached. And it can also be manually activated by either the attendant inside the facility, and in most instances, there is a way to actuate it somewhere near the dispensers as well.
Thank you.
Stormwater management, has all of this been gone over with DPW to make sure that the stormwater system will handle the addition of all the impervious surfaces?
I would certainly assume the city engineer or DPW will get a look at the system if they haven't already. We've provided a drainage report as well in connection with this submission, which again shows that we are reducing the runoff rates for all design storms up to and including the 100-year storm event.
The
DPW has reviewed this indirectly. The project has been reviewed by the town's engineers that designed the Route 8 project. Our engineers are coordinating with Bowler and Cumberland Farms engineers to make sure there's cost savings in terms of the location of the drives as we develop our Route 8 project. I would also say that Conservation Commission, the Cumberland Farms went through a rigorous review process with the conservation. There were 3 meetings. Conservation hired peer review consisting of another engineering firm and a wetlands scientist. So they recommended conditions typically your, department staff provide conditions for a project like this, to suggest it to the planning board. We're not advancing any, conditions this evening because there were so many that were addressed, as part of the conservation. They addressed erosion and sediment control, stormwater management. Cumberland Farms is having to do off-site mitigation, to address all of the Wetlands Protection Act requirements. And there's also special requirements for their landscaping plan, so.
No proposal for a drive-through?
Oh, sir.
Okay. Figured I'd ask. Any questions? No. Anybody have any questions? Is there anybody in participation in the Zoom that have anything?
I just speak.
Say your name.
I'm Steve Dadak. I'm in a butter to the property. You know my opposition to this plan. And I find that the traffic study was inadequately answered a year or so ago when this all came up. No one can tell me the car count, vehicle car count, or the amount of turning vehicles going into the property. It's basically a very biased traffic study paid for by them, by their own firm. Cumberland Farms does not have the best safety record. It's known that they were sued for $25 million for an accident on their property where someone was severely injured. They don't seem to care about the safety of people. And they didn't put these bollards up until they were successfully sued for that $25 million. They repeatedly talk about the traffic in their study, which I've pointed out is a biased study. It's not an independent outside traffic study. I think that the current plan, having lived, traveled all these streets for 30 something years, you're going to find some serious traffic problems with the way it is set up to be flowed, especially coming in from Prospect Street here, and the backup that's going to push back out onto Commercial Street, which was never addressed and never spoke about. I just wanted everybody aware of my opposition and the liability of those faults there. I'm well aware that you're going to proceed ahead anyways without steamrolling over the opposition here. I feel very slighted with COVID-19 protocols that I'm not able to access my government, and my government has refused to return my phone calls in regards to this and several other issues in the neighborhood over the past 12 to 18 months. I'd like that to be set on record so that anyone else that finds that these are true to being a hazard to the neighborhood, that everyone was aware and made aware, and that that can be addressed at a future point in time when there is an injury there.
Thank you. Cumberland Farms, would you like to respond?
Yeah, if I could, I think we do take issue with some of the comments. So we had a traffic study done some time ago, which was updated and then presented to your town's traffic commission in March. And we had a pretty significant, thorough discussion over a half an hour relative to site distance, safety, circulation, etc. We were questioned. We had responses. Traffic is always a difficult area because everybody drives, and so everybody has their own anecdotal experiences. We've got to rely on the science and the empiricism of what our traffic engineers say, and human nature to a certain extent. Cumberland Farms is a convenience store, and so they are looking to design and promote something that is convenient. I know it where I if I have to cross a lane, or if there's a backup, or if there's a line inside a gas station, I'm not going there. And so it behooves capitalism and the business opportunity for Cumberland Farms to make sure that it is in fact convenient. And so, respectfully to the abutter, we would disagree with his comments and suggest that we have a professional who has opined, and then that opinion was accepted by the Adams Traffic Commission.
Okay. Traffic Commission have anything to say?
All I can say, excuse me, as a member of the Traffic Commission that did approve the traffic study, it was identified, all the turning in the report, coming left and right at different times of the day. We did ask a lot of the questions that, you just brought forward, and we felt that the report was thorough, and we approved it. I don't know what else to say.
Any other persons that wish to speak? How many people do we have on Zoom?
I think we have approximately 12
And they all have access.
to 14.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Okay, hearing none. Have a finalization? No?
I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, okay, what I'm gonna ask.
Give you a minute.
That's all right. Wasn't before.
I think it very well prepared. Answered 90% of the question.
I think so too. Yeah, one question, is there gonna be more, people hired for employment now if this new Cumberland Farms goes through?
Yes, as compared to the existing Cumberland Farms, yes.
Okay. That was my question.
Any other questions?
No.
Entertain a motion?
Yeah, I'll give a motion. Okay, I'd like to give motion to grant the application of Cumberland Farms Incorporated for the site plan approval under 125-19E12 and 13 of the Adams zoning bylaw for property located at 95 Commercial Street. The request is for the siting and operation of a 4,384 square foot retail convenience store with 4 fueling islands and 8 dispensaries in a B2 zoning district, as proposed in the plans.
Second.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved, you have your site plan approval, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, go ahead. No? Okay. You have any mail?
Mail was provided to you.
Okay.
The emails you received in tonight's meeting.
Approval for the minutes.
What's that?
Move approval for the minutes
Make,
for April 26th.
April 26th. Okay, make motion to approve minutes from April 26th.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move. Motion to adjourn?
I'll let you make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
2 minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
It's pretty good.